The cousin of Senzo you are there in conversation with Griselda Lewis right now. Deputy President Paul Mashatile is about to deliver the eulogy today at the official memorial service of the late Labour Minister Membathisi Mdladlana, and that's in Cape Town. Mdladlana's funeral was held on Wednesday following a private cremation. Let's take you live to the proceedings right now.
The Alliance and the Mass Democratic Movement, members of the diplomatic corps, religious leaders, and community leaders, comrades and friends, I stand before you today with a heavy heart to bid farewell to this great politician, a teacher, an activist of our time, Membathisi Mdladlana, who will be remembered for among other things, ensuring that the education system in our country is transformed and is run effectively. His passing is another enormous loss for his family, for the country, and for the democratic movement as a whole. To those among us who have sipped from the well of his wisdom and insight, we extend our gratitude to his family for the grace of sharing him with us through both trials and triumphs. In recent times, we have had to part ways with many of our guiding stars, companions, allies, and cherished souls who have traversed the tumultuous journey to illuminate the way towards our democracy. They belonged to an illustrious generation of revolutionaries and servant leaders whose contribution to the liberation and development of South Africa remains immeasurable. These stalwarts set themselves on a course to liberate South Africa from tyranny. What brings us solace and profound delight is that, unlike many of their comrades, they have tasted freedom in their days. A tale I trust they shall weave upon reaching the other side, recounting to those who were not graced with such fortune to behold it. Those who have recently departed achieved their mission and fulfilled their personal destinies. Yet their work, our work, is not yet complete. The South Africa of true equality for all is still to be realized. Just as embers from a fading fire can be used to ignite a new flame, we must take forward the cause to which so many dedicated their lives, the complete liberation of South Africa and its people. Membathisi Mdladlana was one of the leading lights in our struggle for liberation. A gentle, unassuming disposition masked great reserves of inner strength. He was indeed the embodiment of resilience. His life provided a lesson in the true nature of social justice, that one must seek for others what you seek for yourself. It is little wonder that he was drawn to the labor movement from the earliest days of his career. He understood that a thriving economy depends on the well-being of its workers. He fought to ensure that South Africa's workforce received fair treatment and protection under the law. During his tenure, he fully implemented the Basic Conditions of Employment Act of 1997, one of the most significant pieces of legislation in our country. This act guaranteed fair working hours, decent wages, and safeguards against exploitation of workers. In tandem with the Labour Relations Act of 1995, these laws strengthened workers' rights and provided a clear framework for resolving labor disputes, which led to a reduction in industrial action and improved labor relations. As an activist, a unionist, and a leader, Membathisi Mdladlana was able to transcend an unjust system. He did it not for his own personal gain, but for the benefit and improvement of others. He always reiterated the rallying cry that an injury to one is an injury to all. This call inspired him, strengthened him, and gave him courage. He was born into a world that sought to define his prospects. It was a world designed to deny every black child the opportunity to develop and thrive. Membathisi was just 1 year old when in 1953, the apartheid regime passed one of its most damaging laws, the Bantu Education Act. The drafters of this despicable law were clear on its intent. The then Minister of Native Affairs, H.F. Verwoerd, in explaining the rationale for the law, had the following to say: the Bantu must be guided to serve his own community in all respects. There is no place for him in the European community above the level of certain forms of labor. Close quote. There is no place for him in the European community above the level of certain forms of labor. That was Verwoerd. This was the world Membathisi Mdladlana was born into. Yet he ultimately defied it. He walked by faith rather than sight, as stated in the Great Book. He hoped and believed that South Africa would one day be free, and certainly it is today. However, Bantu education would have a lasting impact on generations of black children. The man we lay to rest today was at the forefront of that struggle. He received Bantu education as a child. He experienced its injustices firsthand, growing up in the former Bantu stand of the Ciskei. Membathisi would go on to train as a teacher. In line with the philosophy of Bantu education, training for black teachers was of a lower standard than that provided to white teachers. When he completed his training and found work as a teacher, he entered a system where black teachers earned less, had fewer social benefits, and taught under worse conditions than their white counterparts. But Membathisi would not surrender to a grim fate. He chose to fight for change. He chose to fight for the transformation of education and the transformation of our society. He was a gifted person. He began by organizing teachers in Gugulethu and Crossroads in the late 80s, a time when the various teachers' organizations were deeply divided along racial lines, as some of the speakers said earlier. He was an organizer and a leader in the Southwestern African Teachers Association, the Peninsula African Teachers Association, and the Cape African Teachers Union. He played a key role in the establishment of the South African Democratic Teachers Union in 1990 and spearheaded the negotiations that resulted in the union's official recognition. The declaration by SADC of a national teacher strike in 1993 was a pivotal moment in our journey to democracy. As it has been written, this was the first time a teachers' organization assumed a center stage in the education struggle in pre-democracy South Africa. It demonstrated the militancy of teachers in pursuit of better conditions of service and a transformed education system with free, quality public education at its core. With Membathisi at the helm, the union tirelessly campaigned for the rights also of female workers and for them to enjoy the same rights as their male counterparts. This is a proud legacy that continues to this day. In its tribute to its founding president, SADC had spoken of his conviction that teacher struggles should not undermine nor derail their mandate of delivering quality education. As SADC said, he saw teachers as revolutionary professionals with an invaluable role to play in bringing about a more just, inclusive society. He is known to have often said, and I quote, "We can teach and strike at the same time." Now we know that he would have said this because he knew that while it was important to fight for teachers' rights, whether it's fair wages, proper conditions of work, but he knew that teachers must not compromise teaching of the children. We can teach and strike at the same time. We must take heed of his words at a time when our education system still faces a number of challenges and when educators work under difficult conditions. We urge teachers, as they fight for better conditions, to always remember those words. We can teach and strike at the same time. Taking forward the revolutionary principles of the democratic movement does not mean straying from our greater mandate to serve the people of South Africa. In 1994, upon the inauguration of the first democratic parliament, his country called upon him to serve. He responded without hesitation. Membathisi Mdladlana was part of the drafting committee of the Bill of Rights. the bedrock of our constitutional order today. As a lifelong champion of human rights, it was fitting to assign him that responsibility. Fellow mourners, we have lost one of the architects of the new South Africa. Membathisi's life teaches us a lot. It teaches us about servant leadership. It teaches us about an enduring commitment to public service without regard for personal gain. Wherever his movement or his government deployed him, he served with diligence and integrity. He served under 4 presidents of the democratic dispensation. This reveals a great deal about his character and the faith and regard he had for his people. He hated injustice and took a stand against it wherever he saw it. He served as a Minister of Labour at a time when we had only just begun implementing the laws to protect all workers and their rights. A former staff member who served under him speaks about weeks spent crisscrossing the country, visiting farms, factories, and mines to meet workers. He convened the first national program for the elimination of silicosis, a deadly lung disease that affects workers, particularly in the mining and construction sectors. During the apartheid years, black workers received no protection from employers or the state. Those who got ill were simply dismissed and sent home to die. A democratic government implemented laws to promote workplace health and safety and to offer social support to employees who became ill or injured when on duty. These are just some of the policies of redress Membathisi was tasked with implementing. As a champion of social justice, he advocated for these laws tirelessly. We learn from his life about principled leadership in difficult times. He was a teacher when South Africa was undergoing profound political social change. His life is a lesson on the importance of building bridges and uniting people. Today, Program Director, we live in a free country. Yet we still have to navigate complex challenges. We still have to realize a fully transformed and equal education system. The unity of the South African people remains our highest aspiration, despite the fluctuations in our national life. As political parties in this country, we may not always agree on the best road to get there, but we share a common goal. And that goal is achieving a better South Africa, achieving a South Africa that all of us can call home. And this can be done through greater collaboration and unity. As we lay Membathisi to rest, we should be inspired by his legacy. To the family, to the children and relatives, we share your sorrow. Please take comfort in the knowledge that he will be sorely missed as a loyal cadre of our movement, as a dedicated public servant, and also as a fine individual, well-liked and much admired by many. Let us pay tribute to his spirit of embracing the same unwavering dedication and zeal that he embodied in every moment of his journey. May his spirit find tranquility, and may the echoes of his legacy illuminate the path for those yet to come. May we carry with us a new flame, a flame that lights a way to a better South Africa. We strive for a society where everyone should have equal rights, freedom, and opportunities. In the words of Psalm 23, we want to say to Membathisi Mdladlana, may goodness and mercy surely follow you. May you dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Lala ngoxolo Dlamini, lala ngoxolo Zizi. Thank you very much.
And that, of course, Deputy President Paul Mashatile speaking there at the memorial service and delivering the eulogy today there at the memorial service, the official service of the late Labour Minister Membathisi Mdladlana, and that is in Cape Town.